Wuthering Waves developers decided to sneak in one little update after my previous video again, and the developers have decided to cater to those of us in the fan base who absolutely love lore and story in any game we play. If you're that kind of a player, you're in for a treat, because the developers have just revealed a little bit of the backstory of the 3 characters who they revealed to us in the past month, that being February, those characters being Yangyang, Chixia, and Bailian. I really hope I pronounced that correctly. If I did, please let me know down in the comments. Diving straight into the first character you'll ever meet, Yangyang, she is a character who the developers describe as an extremely gentle and kind character. She's so kind, in fact, that most people see her as a naive person. She's defined as a character who has a selfless attitude and will always try to find a solution, even if a problem seems damn near impossible to solve. The devs also define her as a character who is extremely kind and gentle while at the same time being tough and obstinate. If you're like me, you're probably thinking, how is that possible? How can she be kind and gentle while at the same time being tough and obstinate? It doesn't make sense. It sounds almost like a paradox. So I decided to go back and read through all the little bits of information that we've gotten on the character, and it finally started to make a bit of sense to me. At least this is how I understand it. If you read her character introduction on the website, it tells us that she's a kind character who is absolutely very gentle, but will not hesitate to slice you to ribbons if there is a need for it. At least this is how I understand it. Now, I have 2 thoughts on this. On one hand, I like it because I don't like when characters in anime or films or anything just decide to swear by indecisive action when they clearly can do something. In that regard, I'm actually happy that Yangyang is not that naive. But on the other hand, I'm worried about how difficult it will be to portray this character. And the developers also share my sentiment on this because they said this on their page. So one thing I'm very curious to see is how far is too far for Yangyang before she says no more, and then she actually flips the frick out on people. And it makes me expectant to see how she's portrayed in game. I really hope they do a good job with her because it's going to be tough. Now, because they want Yangyang to be a character who is portrayed as gentle and kind, it shows in the color palette that they use. Blue is a color that is normally associated with a cool and calm demeanor. Some other people translate it as being a color of someone who's responsible. Some other people also translate it as a color of sadness. Now, all of these themes, be it calmness, responsibility, sadness, are things that we're going to see in Yangyang, because the developers told us in these notes that Yangyang plays an important part in the story of this game, and at the same time she's going to lose a lot of things. She's going to face a lot of crises because of her attitude of being a calm and gentle and kind character. So that is the reason why they use blue as a major color for her. And I really hope that the way the story is structured and the way that we as a rover will interact with all of these characters, it will cement how nice Yangyang actually is. Ma Xiaofang is Chixia's original name. Now, why she goes by the name Chixia is because basically she wants to be known as a hero. So Chixia is actually her hero name. The reason why she wanted to become a hero is because of her father who fought to protect his nation, and also because of the street plays and dramas that she saw when she was a child. Chixia is a migrant from another region which was most probably affected by the lament. Now, before I continue from this point, I wanted to sort of point out something. In these developer notes, they go about calling the disaster that happened to the world the Wuthering Waves, but in the audio logs which they've been sharing on their socials, they've actually been calling it the lament. So now I'm a little confused. Is it lament or is it the Wuthering Waves? or are the Wuthering Waves a symptom of the lament? Like, at this point, it's a little confusing. I wish they would give us some more clarity on that. But Ma Xiaofang is a migrant from another region, and she came to Tianshan, which is, according to my inference, the city where she currently resides. We don't know if she actually came to Tianshan with her family or not, but my theory is that she lost her father in the fight against the lament or the Wuthering Waves, whichever one, and she came over to Tianshan with the rest of her family. This is my assumption. I do not know. We do not have enough information. And I definitely like to leave the theory crafting to people who actually have theory crafting channels. That's not what I do. So this theory actually works for me because that will sort of explain why her father is an inspiration for her to become a hero. If he died valiantly in the fight against the Wuthering Waves, or he went missing during the war against the Wuthering Waves or the Lament, then it sort of fuels her ambition to become a better person. But it could also be that he's alive and then she sees the respect that he has among a lot of people and then she wants to become a hero like him. These are all things that a theory crafter will consider and break down for themselves. But according to the developers, these reasons that she gave for her wanting to be a hero are basically her excuses. But it seems like she has more personal motives behind her motivation to become a hero, which is also making me lean towards my theory about her father being dead. Like I said, I'm not a theory crafter and I don't want to start theory crafting. Chixia is very strongly described as an extroverted girl who loves spices, which makes me also think that she loves spicy food. And because of her being an extroverted character, they gave her a very, very vibrant color palette, making sure that her color palette is majorly red. But if I decide to look at things the same way I looked at it with Yangyang, then it becomes sort of a red flag to me, because if Chixia is a character who loves to help people, but her color palette is majorly red, and red is seen as a color that is most predominantly associated with danger and aggression and anger, as well as just excitement and a lot of vibrance, I start to wonder, what kind of character is she? Is she a character who has temper problems? The theory crafter in me started to come out again. Well, I'll leave these things to the theory crafters, but these are things that we should bear in mind. But one thing I will say is that I believe the reason why they actually added in dashes of blue to her color palette is to suggest that she's not just fully an extroverted character who's not just always loud and noisy all the time, rather also a character who is calm and caring. That's how I want to see it. Also known as a cold beauty, Bailian is an archaeologist who does not have any trust in humanity. Now, the reason why she doesn't have any trust in humanity is not properly stated, but it is stated that she went through a life-threatening event which caused her to lose trust in every human. Now, she's a scientist, and because of that, she's also a very, very rational person. She's extremely meticulous, so meticulous in fact that she doesn't like vague responses or vague descriptions. So one example that the devs gave is when she's cooking, if she were to read a recipe and the recipe were to say and add a little dash of oil, she would become pissed off because she would like to know the appropriate amount of oil, and she would actually go out of her way to properly measure it to know for herself what it's supposed to be. Now, she lacks so much trust in humans that she only trusts Yotan. Now, Yotan is a remnant that is symbiotically attached to her. This is very, very interesting because they're in a symbiotic relationship. It's not just a master-slave relationship. So the two of them are benefiting from each other in a way. Now, I don't know what way they're benefiting from each other, but what we do know is that she views Yotan as basically another version of herself. How did she get Yotan? We don't know, but like I said before, the only thing that we do know is that Yotan was basically born after the life-threatening incident that happened for Bailian. Now, I'm not very, very sure if it happened after the life-threatening event or during the life-threatening event, but what we do know is that Yotan is a result of that life-threatening event. The devs did their best to make us understand that Bailian is actually a sort of cold character, which is why most of her color palette is mostly black and white. And also another thing that we know is that Bailian is a person who loves to take action. Well, this doesn't surprise me as much. She doesn't trust humans, so she would rather go out and do things by herself. So if she was going out to an archaeological site, she'd actually go to that site by herself. And I also can guess that if she didn't have Yotan, she'd probably also do combat by herself. I actually find that very, very funny because Bailian is actually supposed to be a support character in the game, a character who's supposed to heal and is also supposed to technically resurrect dead characters. That's actually a very, very funny parallel. She wants to work alone, but she's made to work with other people. That's just very, very interesting. And that's basically everything that we have on Bailian. Now, Yotan, on the other hand, there's a little bit of information that is given on Yotan, but it doesn't seem very, very interesting in the lore side of things, so I don't really want to go there. Now, we do not know if these characters are going to be free characters for us to get. I'm very, very sure that Yangyang will be a free character, but for Chixia and also for Bailian, it is up in the air. But I have a 90% assurance that there are also free characters that you can get through the story and you don't need to actually pull for them. So this is just like a little peek into the heads of the developer team, what they were thinking, the message that they want to pass across while they were designing these characters. Now, I've said it before in one of my other videos, I'm not an art inclined person, so I can't really properly describe the emotions and everything that they want to portray, but I do know that this is what they want to say, and I really hope that the story and everything that they do, the interactions with the world, will properly cement this worth investing in lore-wise. Now, if you want to view the entire developer's notes, you can go down to the link in the description and you can read it for yourself. But if you're too lazy to read and you want an audio version of the entire dev note, then you can check out the link in the description. The channel Wuthering Waves Update actually did an entire audiobook version of the entire developer's notes, so you can actually read that for yourself. Do make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on Wuthering Waves news and content whenever it comes out. I plan on making a few guides and a lot of challenge videos for the game, and I should also be making content on Arknight's Enfield whenever we start to get content for that. But yeah, that's it from this video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.